Hi, are you able to hear me, everyone? Good morning. Hello, are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Good morning,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
sir. Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so let's start the class today. Okay, so we had stopped at the nested if statement yesterday. So today we're going to start with the switch statement. Okay, so we're going to look at the switch statement. You have already written a program for this, so I think things should be a lot easier to understand. However, we will take up a program and I'll show you exactly how a switch statement works. So you have seen that the nested if statements are used when there are successive related decisions to be made, right? However, the nested if statements can become very complex. And yesterday I told you why. It can become very complex if there are many decisions that need to be made. All right. So what a programmer sometimes, they will face a problem in keeping track of a series of complex nested if statements. It becomes difficult for a programmer to actually keep track of a series of nested statements. If statements, fortunately, we have the switch statement in C. Now, using the switch statement, you can make unlimited decisions or choices. So it's basically a choice-based, statement. So basically, on the basis of a value of a conditional expression, right? You can specify the cases in which the switch case will work. So the general form of a switch case statement is this. So you write the switch keyword, right? You write the switch keyword. You write the expression here. Okay, this is the expression, and after that you write the cases. Okay, so you can write the case here. So along with the case, you will write the constant expression. Now remember, this works with a constant value. Okay, so you can write the constant expression 1, and along with that you can write the statement. Okay, and then you can write the second case, and you can do the same thing, and then you can go ahead and write the different cases, and you can continue, and then you have the last, which is called as a default. Okay, you have the default case. Just remember that after every when you write the default case, this is basically executed when none of these get satisfied, and then you write the statement here, and then this is basically your the syntax in which you write your switch case. Now actually, before we actually get into anything, let's kind of write a program on switch case so that you understand what will happen, what are the kind of mistakes that you can make in a switch case. So I'm writing a program here, so all of you please look at the board, and then I will ask you what is going to happen in this code. So just follow what I'm writing. So here is my hash include. All of you are comfortable with this. Let me write it completely. So I'm using stdio.h because I'm going to use the printf statement here. So I start with the main method, and I can add the int here. Then I start. So what I'm going to do is I am going to declare an integer, and let's say the integer is day. Okay, so it is going to hold the value of day. Let's add a print statement. Okay, so I'm adding a printf statement. I'm writing please enter a single digit for a day, right? So that's for a day. So I can write slash n will print this, the next line, the next statement into the next line. And I can also write another print statement. Let's make this clear that we can probably write things within the range. So I want to enter a single digit for a day within the range, let's say within the range of 1 to 3. So I'm just going to write 3 cases just to make it simple. Okay, and I end this. Now here, I am going to take this day and I'm going to initialize a value to it. I'm going to initialize something here. So I will take something from the screen. So let me use the get care function, right? If you are not following what is get care, I have it in one of the videos. You can go back and refer to it. We have discussed the get care, sorry. Now I'm going to start using, so what the get care is going to do is it's going to take a value from the user and that value is going to get, it's going to be initialized into this day variable. All right, just a moment, somebody is trying to come to the class. Okay, so this value is going to get initialized into the day variable. Now I will start writing my cases. Okay, so let's start with the switch. So my switch statement is going to compare the value that is going to be initialized into the day. So I write day here. So depending on what is the value which is going to be initialized into day, my cases are going to run. So I open this bracket and I write my first case. So my first case is case number 1, right? Because case 1 means the value, if it is entered as 1, then I'm going to print something. What I'm going to print? I'm going to print F, and let's print day 1. Okay, I'll print day 1. So if the value that the user enters is 1, it's going to print day 1. Very simple. I mean, not at all complex. Now let me write the second case. So case 2. Now just make a note of it here that what I'm writing here is not semicolon, but it's a colon. This is one of the mistakes which a lot of people make, that they write, in place of what you call this colon, they write semicolon, but it should be a colon and not a semicolon. Semicolon means end of this line. All right. So let's write the same thing. I'm going to write printf and day 2, and let's write the third case. Printf day 3. Simple, right? And I'm going to write my default. Default means if none of the cases actually, work, then this is going to just close. That means nothing is going to happen. It's going to end this switch case and it is going to come out of it. So this bracket, I'm closing it here. So this bracket is closed here because I don't have space. Otherwise, I would have loved to write it down. This bracket, I am closing it here because I don't have space. So I'm going to write return 0 and my program ends here. Okay, I think I have written one extra bracket here, so which I need to erase. Let's do this.
Sir, excuse
Yes,
me,
one
sir.
second. Yeah,
Sir,
just a
after
minute.
each, yes, sir.
Just a minute. Okay, okay. Yes, tell me. You're saying something?
Sir, sir, after using each cases, we should use, sir, break or break statement. Like
Yeah,
then
yeah.
we jump to next.
Yeah, I will. I'll explain that. I'll explain that. I'll explain what is that break statement. Right now, I'm not using that break, so that I'll show you what the problem is, and then we will use the break. Okay. So there are a lot of people in this class who have not
Okay,
done the
sir.
switch cases. So we will go slowly one by one. Okay. So let me ask you a question now. This is a program. Say I compile it and then I run it. And now it's going to ask me for an input. Okay. It's going to ask me for an input. So I will I will enter the value 3 from the keyboard. So I'm going to enter the value 3. So when I enter the value 3 from the keyboard, what is going to happen?
It will print day 3 and exit.
Sir, your voice is not coming.
Did I get disconnected in the middle? Okay. So as soon as I enter the value 3, right? Please do not give your attendance right now. I'll ask you to give your attendance, and that's the time you need to, share all your attendance. Okay, if you just keep giving the attendance, and if I get logged out, all your attendance will be gone. So when I ask you to give your attendance, that's the time you need to give, okay? Because if you give it now, and if I get logged out, then all your attendance are going to disappear. So once I ask you that please give your attendance now, that's the time you need to give. All right, fine. So we were talking about the case. So once the value of day becomes 3, it is going to go to the third case. It is going to print. After this, it will go to default and then it will exit. Now there is a small problem here with, when I enter the value 3, it works all fine. But let's discuss, what happens when I enter the value 1. Now, when I enter the value 1, what is going to happen here is this getChar is going to take this value 1 from the keyboard that you have entered, and it is going to initialize into this variable day. Now, the value of day here is going to be 1. So what's going to happen here? It's going to first go to this case. That means it's going to go to case number 1. What's going to happen here? So you will have day 1, which is going to be printed here. But now what's going to happen is, from this line, it is not going to exit all these statements here. That means all the statements which are in the switch block, it will go and execute each of these statements. So after case 1, it will move to the second line and it will get execute day 2. And then after that, it will go to the third line and it will execute day, and it will print day 3. And then it will go to default and then come out. So if you enter the value 1, basically your program control comes and starts executing from this line, and it will continue and go through all the lines which are inside the switch block. So if I enter the value for day as 1, day 1, day 2, day 3, all these 3 are going to get printed. Are you able to follow me? If I enter the
Yes,
value
sir.
of if I enter the value of day as 2, then what's going to happen? Switch 2. So it's going to switch and it's going to go to the second case. So your execution will come to the case number 2, and it will start printing all the values from 2. So day 2 and day 3 both will get printed. Okay. Now this is how the switch case works. But if I want that, once a particular case is executed, I don't want it to go to the third case or all the cases which are below this. All right. So if I want to end my execution of this switch case block, as soon as a particular case is executed, then I need to do something here. I need to add a statement. I need to add a word which is called as break. Okay, which is called as break, B-R-E-A-K. Now what this break statement is going to do is, it is going to break your execution, right? It is going to go and break your execution, and it will take you outside your switch case block. So let me show you what we need to do and how we should actually add this break keyword. So in case, suppose I want only the case 1 to be executed, and after that it should exit out of this loop. So after this case 1 printf, I have to write this keyword break. Just write this keyword break. Again with case 2, I'm writing break. Okay, and with case 3 also I can go and write break. Okay, so I can write break here. Now what's going to happen here is, if I enter the value 1, so the day is going to get incremented with 1. Now I go to switch 1. So when it goes to switch 1, it goes to this case. It starts executing the printf, which is here. So day 1 is going to get printed. After that, it is going to execute this line. So when it executes break, what it does is it will skip all the steps or all the lines which are there inside this switch block. So basically the switch block is within these two braces. So all the remaining lines of code it is going to skip, and it is going to return to a line which is after the switch block. So in this case, when I enter 1, only day 1 gets printed. If I enter 2, then it goes directly to case 2. Day 2 is going to get printed, and then this break will take this entire, skip all the entire statements, and it will exit. So if I enter 3, then it will go to the third line. It will, print this, and this break will take the control out of the switch block. Did you understand, all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how you can actually work with switch cases, right? This is how you can
Okay.
actually work with switch cases.
So
Now,
can I ask something, sir?
yeah, please.
Sir, let's suppose, sir, I'm not using that particular keyword, and I'm using to scanf to scan the value in between 1 to 3. So, is there an issue?
No, you can use scanf. I'm using getchar because I've not yet taught you scanf. All
Okay.
right. So you can use anything to get a value. No problem.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Fine.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, fine. Now I will show you how we can use this break keyword very effectively. Okay. Sometimes, if you notice when you're writing or when you're writing your C program right now, what happens is your program runs only once. That means, if you want to, for example, write a program to add two numbers, right? Then what happens is you write the program to add two numbers, and then the program kind of completes and it gets out of that screen. And then if you want to execute your functionality again, then you have to rerun the program. That means you have to go and run it again. So you have to, many number of times you have to execute the program again and again if you want to add two numbers, repeatedly. But what we can do is we can use an infinite loop. You can put your program in a loop in such a way that it will keep executing that particular program again and again until you want it to get over. For example, if you want to add two numbers, you enter your two numbers, it adds, but it keeps waiting for you to execute and add two more numbers. So you
Sir,
add
your
another
voice
two
not
more
clearly.
numbers, and then it will give you the value, and it will. My voice is not clear.
Yes, sir.
Clear,
Is
sir.
it a problem for
Continue.
everyone?
No, sir. Clear. Continue.
It's good.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's clear.
Okay,
Fine.
so maybe maybe it's a problem for someone. If you're not able to hear me clearly, I think it's a problem at your end. Don't worry if you are not able to follow or if you're not able to hear. I will upload this video on YouTube so you can go through it there itself. Okay, so I was telling you about infinite loop. So if I want my program to keep executing until I want it to exit, right, then I can use this break statement very effectively. Okay, so using an infinite loop, I can control, when the program is going to exit myself. For example, I was telling you that if I want to write a function, if I want to write a program to add two numbers, and that program should continuously run until I want it to stop, then I can do it by using this break very effectively. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to write a small program. Okay, I'm going to write a small program, and you can probably follow and see how I can do it. So just look at my screen. Okay, so I'm writing include stdio.h. I'm going to write an infinite loop this time. So here is my main. All right, and now I'm going to use a character integer c. Right, that c is going to accept a. Just give me a moment. Let me just this off. I can also use a char, but I'm using C because it can hold much larger values. So let me write a print statement, and I'm asking you to enter a character. And what I'm doing here is I am putting a condition, right? And I'm saying enter X to exit. So I'm going to run an infinite loop, and this infinite loop is only going to stop if you enter the value X. Okay, so here is my infinite loop. So while, sorry, I made a mistake in the syntax. So it's not this bracket. Okay. So if I would have run this code, I would have gotten syntax error. Okay, now I'm not putting any condition. So I am just running this code without a condition. That means this code will run. Okay, I am not putting any condition. So this code will continue to run. So this is an infinite loop. Now here I am using a character, and I'm using the stream stdin. In the previous example, I used getC, here getchar, I'm using getC here. Okay, so those of you who have a problem in understanding what is getC, why we did not use stdin in getchar, and why we are using stdin here, please go back to my previous lectures. The differences are illustrated there. I am using these again and again so that in different variations, so that you know it's like a revision for you. Okay, so I'm going to accept a character from the screen, from the input device, and I'm using stdin because this function does not understand which stream to use. So I am telling it to use the standard input stream. All right, now this while loop is going to continue forever. Okay, this while loop is going to continue forever. Okay, and whatever you take from the screen, it will continue to accept that value. Now I'm going to put a condition here. I'm going to put a condition here which is going to break or basically get out of this loop. So if I'm writing, if the value of C that you enter is X, okay, because here I have written that I want X to exit. So if the value of this particular C that you enter is X, then what you do is then you break. What this break does is it will get you out of this loop. That means if it encounters this line, it will no longer allow it to loop through this while statement, but it will execute this line, it will check for this condition, and it will break. That means it will come to this line. Okay, and here I can write break the infinite loop. Okay, and I can close this, and I can write a return, and I can close this program. Okay, this is a very simple example. Now if I don't write these two statements here, this while this get stdin will continue to accept characters from the screen. So I can enter A, then it will wait for me for another character. I will enter B, C, D, A, 1, 2. It will keep accepting characters, you know, capital A, capital B, all the characters it will keep accepting on your screen, right? And it will never end. This program will never end. But I have put a condition. So as soon as I enter X, this line will check if C is equal to X. Yes. If C is equal to X, then actually, write your program. Now what you can do is I can write this, and here inside this I can write a functionality to add two numbers, right? And it will execute those functionalities. It will take A plus B and give you the value. The result is C. Then you can print, you can add again, right? You can add until you want, you can again continue that program. You can rerun this program again and again. So addition can keep happening, or the remaining statements will keep getting executed until you want it to end. So as soon as you enter X, this loop will terminate and it will exit out of that while loop, and then you can actually break from the program completely. Okay, now in later class, I'll give you some assignments. So you can actually use this infinite loop and make the program run continuously, and also, kind of control when you want to exit. So if you are making menu based program, what is menu based program? So if you're making a program which is menu driven, that means press one to add, like a calculator. If you're writing a program to simulate a calculator, so you can use switch cases, right? So switch cases means case one for addition, press two for subtraction, press three for deletion, whatever, multiplication, press four for division. And you can put this in an infinite loop. So you can put a switch case into an infinite loop. So what happens is the program will keep running. Once it executes, it will go back and it will ask you again, do you want to continue? If you press yes, then it will get into the loop again. If you press no, then you put a break, it will exit out of that loop. Okay, so this is a very effective way. Probably I'll show you exactly how you can use this. Okay, anybody has a doubt with break?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
okay. Now,
having doubt, sir.
yes.
So,
Yeah, tell
but
me.
What
not
that why?
from regarding sir Dep C plus. Sir, as we know, sir, a clear screen is a keyword for using header file of conio.h. If you use conio.h, then we can use clear screen.
Yeah.
So, but in Dep C plus, sir, after using conio.h header file, if I use clear screen during compilation time, it shows that clear screen is not declared. So I have to
Uh,
omit the.
See, if you talk about clear screen function, you use conio.h.
Yes, I use it, sir. Even after using conio.h, even it shows that clear screen is not declared.
Are you using a
So
clear
for there.
screen function? Are you using CLR, SCR, and then using a function, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It
Okay.
shows that. So
Okay, send me that error. See, I'll tell you again. It's not like C plus C is basically again a programming language which is dependent on different compilers. Okay, some compilers
yes,
will
sir.
give you an option. It depends upon how your compiler supports your different functions. So maybe
Sir,
dev C.
sir, with
Yeah.
after clearing the clear screen, it completely works. But if I just want to add, like it shows that it's not declared. Maybe, sir, it optimized. So without using clear screen, I thought
Yeah,
so.
it could be. It could be, but still, send me that error which you're
Yes, sir.
getting. I will check whether Dev C++
Okay, sir.
is, allowing. There could be issues. There could be issues. So we need to check exactly why it's not working. Okay.
Okay, sir. I'll send you, sir.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then fine. So if everybody is clear with this, then I want to go to another statement, which is basically called as continue. Okay, break and continue are basically two keywords which are very, very important, and they have a lot of benefits in programming. Okay, so you can do a lot of uh, you know useful things in your program with these two statements. Now what break does is it completely takes you out of that loop. That means suppose you're using a for loop, right? And if a for loop has multiple iterations, like for example, if you're using a for loop, say for int I is equal to 0, if you can do I is less than 10, I plus plus, right? So if this is the loop that is running, right? And if you put a condition here, so if say I is equal to say 5, all right, then I write break. So what is going to happen here is, how many times this loop is going to run? Can anyone tell me? How many times this loop is going to run?
10 times.
Yes, sir.
10 times? 10 times?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But I have written if I is equal to 5, break.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen here? So first I value is equal to 0. So when the I value is equal to 0, then we are going to enter into this loop, right? So it is going to check, is I equal to 0? No. So this condition is not satisfied. It will print hello and it will come out. That means hello will get printed. Everybody understood? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Then what happens to the I value? It changes from 0 to 1. So it enters the loop again. Is 1 equal to 5? No, it is not. So it will not execute this break. It will go and it will print hello again. Second time. Now the I value is equal to 2. It will enter. Again, print hello. So with I value 2, it will print hello. It will go to I value 3. Again, it will print hello because the I value is 3, which is not, which is, this condition is not satisfied. I value 4. Yes, hello. Now when we have I value is equal to 5, so when the value of I becomes 5, this statement is true, right? I is 5. So what happens? It will go and execute break. Now when it executes break, loop, that means this loop will exit and it will go, it will no longer be inside the for loop. It will exit this for loop and it will come out. That means how many times my loop executed in this scenario? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Everybody's clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But suppose I want a scenario. Suppose I don't write these two lines. Then what is going to happen? So I5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And when it becomes 10, I is less than 10, it will skip. So how many times it will execute? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So for 0, for 1, for 2, for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Sorry, one more. Hello. So when the I value becomes 10, this condition is not satisfied because 10 is not less than 10. So this loop will not run. So if I don't write this condition, if I don't write this break, these many times the hello is going to get printed, which is 10 times. But if I put this condition here, that means this loop is going to get, it's going to run for only 5 times, because as soon as the value of I is equal to 5, I write a break here, it will exit this particular loop. So what the break does is, it will exit this entire loop as soon as a condition is satisfied. Okay, but suppose you have a scenario where you don't want to exit from this particular complete loop, but you just want to exit, if you just want to exit from that particular iteration. What is the meaning of that particular iteration? Which means that if the value of I is equal to 5, I don't want to print this, but I want to go to the next iteration. That means I is equal to 6. That means I don't want to exit this for loop, but I want to exit only one iteration. Are you able to understand? If I want to exit only one iteration, that means if I is equal to 5, I don't want to exit that group, but I want to exit that particular iteration. Okay, so in case of that, what I need to do is, I need to use a keyword or a statement which is called as continue. Okay, I will, in place of break, what I will do is, I will write continue. Continue. Okay, so what it does is, when I write continue, it will skip that iteration. That means it will not come to print hello for I is equal to 5, but it will go back to the next iteration. That means it will go back to I is equal to 6. Okay, so what happens is, I am skipping one iteration. When the I value is equal to 5, I skip one iteration. When I write break, I skip the complete loop. So if I write break here, I completely exit from this loop if my condition is met. But if I write continue, I don't exit from the group, but I exit from that iteration and go to the next iteration. So if I write continue here, what is going to happen is that fifth iteration will get skipped. That means when I is equal to 5 means sixth iteration. So when I is equal to 5, that means for 0 it will print, for 1 it will print, for 2 it will print, for 3 it will print, for 4 it will print. For 5, when I go to the fifth iteration, for the I value 5, then what's going to happen is it is going to skip and it is going to continue to the sixth one. So one hello will not be printed. This will not be printed if I use continue. So if I use continue, it is going to skip that iteration for which the I value is equal to 5, but it will not exit the loop. Okay. If I use break, as soon as this condition is satisfied, it will exit this entire loop. So if I don't write break or continue, and if I don't write this condition, I am going to get hello printed 10 times. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I write break here, then my hello is going to get printed 1, 2, 3, 4. So value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay. If I write continue, then only one iteration will not take place. That means when I is equal to 5, which is the sixth iteration, will not take place. So one hello will go. So I will have hello printed 9 times. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now this is a very important and a very useful tool. Please remember how, what is the difference between break and what is the difference between break and continue, because this will be very useful later on when you are actually going to write, you know, uh, problems which are complex. You're going to write programs which are complex. So remember, break and continue are going to be very, very useful for you in future. So don't, if you're not able to understand, please go through this lecture again. If you're still not able to understand, you can ask me once again, but please make sure that you understand how the break and continue are used. All right. So with that, you can now start giving your attendance.
Okay, sir.